3 months had passed since Kira first arrived at the space station, and today was the day that would change everything. Dr. Lisa Park stood nervously in the main docking bay, watching as 3 sleek alien ships approached the station. Kira had kept her promise. She had convinced her people to come and see humanity for themselves. "Are you ready for this?" Kira asked, standing beside Lisa. The alien girl had become like a sister to her over these past months, and Lisa could see the anxiety in her large blue eyes. "As ready as anyone can be for the most important day in human history," Lisa replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "What are your people like? Will they be as open-minded as you?" Kira hesitated. "They are different from me. The delegation includes some of our most respected leaders, but also some who strongly believe that individual biological superiority is the only measure of worth. Today will not be easy." As the alien ships docked, Lisa felt her heart racing. Everything they had worked for, everything humanity had achieved, would be judged in the next few hours. The airlock opened, and 3 beings emerged. They looked similar to Kira, but carried themselves with an ancient authority that made Lisa feel small. Their leader, a tall figure with silver hair and piercing golden eyes, stepped forward. "I'm Council Leader Zephyr," the being said, their voice carrying the same musical quality as Kira's, but with an edge of superiority. "We have come to evaluate the claims made by our observer." Lisa straightened her shoulders and stepped forward. "Welcome to our space station. I'm Dr. Lisa Park. We're honored by your visit." Zephyr's golden eyes studied Lisa with obvious disappointment. "So this is what humans look like: small, fragile, limited in every biological aspect we consider important." Lisa felt her cheeks flush. But Kira quickly intervened. "Council Leader, respectfully, appearance tells only part of the story. I have prepared demonstrations that will show you what humans are truly capable of." "Very well," Zephyr said dismissively, "but I warn you, Observer Kira, your reports have been met with skepticism. The idea that being so biologically inferior could teach us anything is difficult to accept." Over the next several hours, Kira led the delegation through carefully planned demonstrations. She showed them videos of human cooperation during disasters, recordings of scientific achievements, and examples of cultural evolution. But Lisa could see that the alien leaders remained unimpressed. "Interesting," said the second leader, a being named Astral with violet-tinted skin. "But these achievements required enormous groups working together. My people could accomplish the same things with just a few individuals." "The moon landing was impressive for such a primitive species," added the third leader, Nova. "But we were traveling between star systems when your species was still discovering fire." Lisa watched Kira's face fall with each dismissive comment. Her friend had worked so hard to bring her people here, and they were refusing to see what made humans special. Finally, Lisa couldn't stay quiet anymore. "With respect, Council Leaders, you're judging us by your standards instead of trying to understand our strengths." Zephyr's golden eyes fixed on Lisa with surprise. "You dare to challenge our evaluation?" "I dare to ask you to truly observe before you judge," Lisa replied, her fear giving way to determination. "Kira learned something important during her time here. Maybe you could too, if you were willing to look beyond biological capabilities. And what could we possibly learn from beings who cannot even adapt their skin color?" Nova asked with obvious disdain. Before Lisa could answer, an alarm began blaring throughout the station. This time, it wasn't one of Kira's simulations. It was real. The station's computer announced an incoming asteroid field that had somehow avoided detection until the last moment. "All crew to emergency stations. Impact in 30 minutes. Prepare for evacuation protocols." Lisa saw the alien leaders step back in alarm as chaos erupted around them. The human crew immediately sprang into action, but this time the situation was genuinely dire. The asteroid field was too large to avoid, and the space station shields couldn't handle an impact of this magnitude. "The escape pods can only hold half the crew," Commander Rodriguez announced grimly. "We need to decide who evacuates first." Lisa watched the alien delegation with interest. Here was a real test. not planned by Kira, but provided by the universe itself. How would the aliens react to genuine mortal danger? Zephyr immediately began adapting their body for space survival, their skin taking on a metallic sheen. Astral and Nova did the same, preparing themselves for individual survival. But the humans behaved completely differently. Children and non-essential personnel in the first wave of pods. Rodriguez commanded, "I'm staying behind," announced Dr. Chen immediately. "Someone needs to maintain life support for those who remain." "I'll stay too," said Engineer Johnson. "We need someone to try to repair the shields." Within minutes, Lisa watched in amazement as more than half the crew volunteered to stay behind and face almost certain death so that their colleagues could escape safely. The alien delegation stood frozen, watching this display with growing shock. "They're choosing to die for each other," Astral whispered in disbelief. "This makes no biological sense." Nova said, their voice shaking, "Individual survival should be the priority." But Zephyr was staring at the humans with a different expression, one of dawning understanding. As the evacuation proceeded, something unexpected happened. Engineer Johnson and his team actually managed to boost the shield's strength enough to protect the station. Working together with desperate creativity, they found a solution that should have been impossible with their limited resources. When the asteroid field finally passed and the station was safe, the alien delegation stood in stunned silence. "I have never seen anything like this," Zephyr finally said, their voice filled with wonder. "Your people faced extinction and chose cooperation over individual survival. And somehow, that choice led to everyone's survival. This is what I tried to tell you," Kira said softly. "Humans don't just survive despite their limitations. They thrive because of how they handle those limitations together." Astral was studying the human crew with new eyes. They turned weakness into strength through unity. "I have never witnessed such a thing. In our culture, such behavior would be considered foolish," Nova admitted, "but I cannot argue with the results." Lisa stepped forward, seeing an opportunity to bridge the gap between the species. "Council leaders, we're not asking you to adopt human ways. We're asking you to recognize that there might be value in different approaches to survival and growth." Zephyr was quiet for a long moment, clearly struggling with concepts that challenged everything their culture believed. Finally, they spoke. "Dr. Park, your species has shown us something we did not expect to find, a form of strength we had forgotten existed. Perhaps our evaluation criteria have been incomplete." "What does this mean for humanity?" Lisa asked, hardly daring to hope. "It means," Zephyr said slowly, "that we have much to learn from each other. Your species will be welcomed into the galactic community, not as subjects to be studied, but as partners in exploration and discovery." Lisa felt tears streaming down her face as the full impact of the words hit her. Humanity had not just passed the test, they had opened a new chapter in galactic civilization. Kira moved to stand beside Lisa, taking her hand. "I told you that humans give me hope. Now they have given hope to all my people." As Lisa looked around at her crew members, her alien friend, and the delegation of beings who had come from across the galaxy, she realized that this was bigger than anyone had imagined. This wasn't just about proving human worth. It was about showing the universe that there are many ways to be strong, many paths to survival, and endless possibilities when different species choose to work together. The challenge that had started with Kira's dare had become humanity's greatest achievement, not conquering space through individual power, but opening the cosmos through the simple but profound act of caring for each other. And as the alien ships prepared to return home, with news that would change galactic civilization forever, Lisa knew that the real adventure was just beginning. 2 weeks had passed since Kira first arrived at the space station, and everything had changed. What started as a challenge to prove human worth had become something much deeper. Dr. Lisa Park found herself looking forward to their daily conversations, and she could see that Kira felt the same way. Today, however, something was different. Kira seemed troubled, her usual graceful movements replaced by restless pacing around the observation deck. "The time for talking is ending," Kira said suddenly. her voice carrying a weight that Lisa hadn't heard before. My people are expecting a report soon. They want to know if humans deserve contact with the galactic community. Lisa felt her stomach drop. She had become so comfortable with their friendship that she had almost forgotten the stakes. What will you tell them? Kira stopped pacing and turned to face Lisa. Her large blue eyes filled with conflict. That is the problem. What I have learned about humans doesn't fit the evaluation system my people use. What do you mean? My people measure species by individual biological capabilities, Kira explained. Can they survive extreme temperatures? Can they adapt to different atmospheres? Can they defend themselves against predators? By these standards, humans score very low. Lisa's heart sank. So we failed the test, according to traditional measurements. Yes, Kira admitted, but I have discovered that these measurements are incomplete. They don't account for what makes humans truly remarkable. Which is what? Kira walked to the window and gazed down at Earth. Your ability to transcend your limitations through connection with each other. My people have never encountered anything like it. Lisa joined her at the window. Will they understand that? I don't know, Kira said honestly. My people have become so focused on individual perfection that they may not recognize the value of collective strength. Lisa felt a desperate need to find a solution. What if we could demonstrate it? What if we could show your people how human cooperation works in practice? How will we do that? Lisa thought for a moment. Then her eyes lit up with inspiration. Kira, does your ship have the ability to create emergency situations? The alien girl looked puzzled. Yes, we can simulate various crisis scenarios. But why would you want to experience a crisis? Because that's when humans shine brightest, Lisa said with growing excitement. You've seen how we work together in normal times, but you haven't seen what happens when everything goes wrong. Kira's eyes widened with understanding. You want to be tested under pressure. Exactly. Create a real emergency that threatens the space station. Then watch how humans respond. I guarantee you'll see something your people have never witnessed before. For the first time in days, Kira smiled. This is very dangerous. Humans could be seriously hurt or killed. But that's exactly the point, Lisa said firmly. The fact that we're willing to risk everything for each other is what makes us special. Your people need to see that individual survival isn't the only measure of strength. Kira was quiet for a long time, clearly wrestling with the decision. Finally, she spoke. If I do this, there will be real danger. Are you certain you want to proceed? I'm certain, Lisa replied without hesitation. But I need to warn the crew first. They deserve to know what they're agreeing to. No, Kira said, shaking her head. For the test to be meaningful, their responses must be natural, instinctive. If they know it's a test, the results won't represent true human behavior. Lisa felt a chill of fear, but also excitement. So you'll create a real emergency? I will simulate a catastrophic system failure, Kira confirmed. Life support, power, communications, everything will appear to be failing. The crew will believe they are in genuine mortal danger, and you'll be watching how we respond. I'll be recording everything for my people to see. They need to witness human behavior under extreme stress to understand what your species is truly capable of. Lisa took a deep breath. When do we start? Tomorrow morning, Kira said. But Lisa, I need you to understand something. Even though this will be a simulation, the stress will be real. The fear will be real. Some of your crew members might not handle it well. I understand, Lisa said. But I also know my people. When faced with impossible odds, humans don't just survive. We find ways to help each other survive. The next morning arrived faster than Lisa expected. She was in the main laboratory when the alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red warning lights flashed as the computer announced system failures in rapid succession. Life support failure in Section C and D-power grid malfunction. Communications array offline. Lisa's heart began racing, even though she knew this was Kira's simulation. The sounds and lights were so realistic that her body responded with genuine fear. She ran to the main corridor and immediately saw other crew members emerging from their quarters. Confusion and concern on their faces. Commander Rodriguez was already at the emergency panel, trying to assess the situation. "What's happening?" asked Dr. Chen, the station's medical officer. "Multiple system failures." Rodriguez replied, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We need to prioritize life support and emergency communications." Lisa watched in amazement as her colleagues immediately fell into organized action. Without being asked, Engineer Johnson headed toward the power grid controls while Dr. Chen began gathering emergency medical supplies. "I'll check the backup life support in Section C," volunteered Technician Williams, even though that area was supposedly the most dangerous. "No," Rodriguez said firmly, "we don't send anyone alone into compromised sections. Take Peterson with you." Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes as she watched her friends risk their lives for each other. This was exactly what she had hoped Kira would see. The emergency continued for over an hour. During that time, Lisa witnessed acts of courage and selflessness that took her breath away. When Dr. Chen thought she heard someone trapped in Section D, 3 crew members immediately volunteered to go with her on a rescue mission. When the food synthesizers failed, everyone immediately began rationing their personal emergency supplies to make sure the entire crew would have enough. Most remarkably, when it appeared that the escape pods could only save half the crew, an argument broke out. Not about who would get to leave, but about who would stay behind. Every single person on the station volunteered to be among those who remain. Through it all, Lisa noticed Kira watching from hidden locations, her device recording everything. The alien girl's expression grew more amazed with each passing moment. Finally, just as the crew was beginning to implement their most desperate survival plan, all the systems suddenly came back online. The alarms stopped, the lights returned to normal, and the emergency was over. The crew stood in stunned silence for a moment, then began cheering and hugging each other in relief. Later that day, Lisa found Kira in their usual meeting spot, staring out at the stars with an expression of wonder. "Well," Lisa asked, "what did you think?" Kira turned to face her, and Lisa was surprised to see tears streaming down the alien girl's silver cheeks. "In my entire life, I have never seen anything like what happened today." "What do you mean?" "When my people face danger, our first instinct is self-preservation. We adapt our bodies to survive and worry about others only after we are safe." Kira's voice was filled with emotion. "But your people's first instinct was to protect each other. That's what humans do," Lisa said simply. "I know that now," Kira replied. "And I understand why your species has survived and thrived despite your individual limitations. You are not limited at all. You are unlimited because you face every challenge as one people instead of as individuals." Lisa felt a surge of pride, not just for herself, but for all of humanity. "So what will you tell your people?" Kira smiled through her tears. "I will tell them that humans have discovered something my people lost long ago. I will tell them that individual perfection means nothing compared to the strength that comes from truly caring about others." "And do you think they'll listen?" "I don't know," Kira admitted, "but I'm going to try something unprecedented. Instead of just sending a report, I'm going to invite a delegation of my people to come here and see for themselves." Lisa's eyes widened. "You mean more aliens will come to Earth if they agree?" "Yes. Your species has taught me that some things can only be understood through direct experience." Kira reached out and took Lisa's hand. "Thank you for showing me what it really means to be strong." A week had passed since their first real conversation, and Dr. Lisa Park was beginning to see Kira in a completely different light. The alien girl wasn't just here to judge humanity. She was genuinely curious about them. Today, Lisa had prepared something special. She was ready to show Kira what humans were truly capable of when pushed to their limits. "I've been thinking about our discussion," Lisa said as they sat in the observation deck, watching Earth slowly rotate below them. "You've shown me what your people can do individually. Now I want to show you what humans can do together." Kira tilted her head, those large blue eyes focusing intently on Lisa. "What do you mean?" Lisa pulled out a tablet and brought up a series of historical images. "Let me tell you about the Apollo missions In 1969, humans managed to land on their moon using technology that was less powerful than the device you're holding right now. I know about this achievement, Kira said softly. My people were watching when it happened. But what does this prove about your species' survival capabilities? Everything. Lisa replied with growing excitement. Think about it. Humans looked up at the moon for thousands of years, dreaming of reaching it. We had no natural ability to fly, no way to survive in space, no biological adaptations that would help us. But we did it anyway. She swiped to show images of the massive rockets, the control rooms filled with hundreds of people, the astronauts in their bulky suits. This wasn't just about 3 men going to the moon. It was about 400,000 people working together toward a single goal. Kira studied the images carefully. Your people accomplished this through cooperation. Exactly. Lisa's voice was filled with pride. Engineers, scientists, mathematicians, welders, seamstresses who sewed the spacesuits, farmers who grew food for the workers, everyone contributed. No single human could have done this alone. But together, we achieved the impossible. But this required enormous resources, Kira pointed out. My people could accomplish the same goal with just a few individuals. Maybe, Lisa agreed. But here's what makes humans special. We didn't stop there. We used what we learned from going to the moon to build better computers, create new materials, develop life support systems. Every challenge we faced made us stronger as a species. Lisa switched to more recent images showing the International Space Station they were currently on. This station represents the work of 15 different countries, former enemies working together. In space, humans who couldn't even speak the same language cooperating to explore the universe. For the first time since meeting her, Lisa saw something like wonder in Kira's eyes. Your species chooses to work together even when they don't have to. We work together because we have to, Lisa explained. Remember what I told you about our individual weaknesses? Those same weaknesses force us to depend on each other. A human alone in the wilderness might die, but a group of humans can build a civilization. Kira was quiet for a long moment, processing this information. My people are different. We are strong enough to survive alone, so we rarely work together on such scales. And what has that cost you? Lisa asked gently. The alien girl looked out at the stars, and Lisa could see something sad in her expression. We have become isolated. Each of us is powerful, but we have lost the ability to dream together. Lisa felt her heart go out to this strange, beautiful being. What do you mean? When I was young, my people told stories of great adventures, of exploring unknown worlds together. But as we became more individually capable, we stopped needing each other. Now we explore alone, report our findings alone, live alone. Kira's voice was barely above a whisper. I am the first of my kind to make contact with another species in over 100 years. That sounds lonely, Lisa said softly. It is. Kira admitted. Watching your species, seeing how you support each other, sacrifice for each other, build dreams together, it reminds me of what we used to be. Lisa leaned forward, sensing an opportunity to really connect. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe your people sent you not just to judge us, but to remember something they've forgotten. Kira turned to look at Lisa, and there were tears in those large blue eyes. I have been thinking the same thing. When I watch humans work together, I feel something I have not felt in decades. What's that? Hope, Kira said simply. Your species gives me hope. Lisa felt a warmth spreading through her chest. This was more than just proving human worth. This was about two very different beings finding common ground. Let me show you something else, Lisa said, bringing up new images on her tablet. These showed human families, children playing together, communities helping each other during disasters. Your reproductive capabilities that you mentioned. Lisa continued, they're not just about making more humans. They're about making better humans. Each generation learns from the previous one, but they also question it, improve on it, find new solutions. Your young challenge their elders, Kira asked, surprised, all the time. Lisa laughed. Sometimes it causes problems, but mostly it leads to progress. Young humans see possibilities that older ones can't imagine. They push boundaries, take risks, dream bigger dreams. Kira was studying the images of human children with fascination. My people's young are born with all the knowledge they need. They never question, never rebel, never surprise us. But don't you miss the surprises? Lisa asked. Don't you miss being amazed by what the next generation might accomplish? I had never thought about it that way, Kira admitted. But yes, I think I do miss it. When I watch human children play, they seem to create new possibilities out of nothing. Lisa smiled. That's exactly right. Human children don't just inherit our world, they reimagine it. Every human child is born with the potential to change. Everything, even with your biological limitations, especially because of our limitations. Lisa said firmly, when you know you only have a short time to make a difference, you try harder. When you know you can't do everything alone, you inspire others to help. When you know you might fail, you find creative ways to succeed. Kira was quiet for several minutes, absorbing all of this. Finally, she spoke. Dr. Park, I came here believing that my people were clearly superior to yours. But now I am beginning to understand that we may have lost something important in becoming so individually powerful. What's that? The ability to grow, Kira said thoughtfully. My people have perfected adaptation, but we have stopped evolving. We change our bodies to fit new environments, but we no longer change our minds, our hearts, our dreams. Lisa felt a surge of excitement. So what does this mean for your evaluation of humanity? It means, Kira said with a smile that was both alien and somehow very human, then I need to revise my understanding of what makes a species strong. Individual power is not everything. Perhaps the ability to grow, to change, to dream together is more valuable than I thought. Does this mean humans pass your test? Lisa asked hopefully. Kira laughed, a sound like silver bells. Dr. Park, I am beginning to think that this test has become something neither of us expected. Instead of proving which species is superior, we are discovering how much we can learn from each other. Lisa looked out at the earth below, then at the alien girl beside her, and felt something she hadn't expected when this all began. She felt friendship, despite their vast differences, despite coming from different worlds. She and Kira were connecting in a way that transcended species. Maybe that's the real test, Lisa said quietly. Not whether humans are good enough for the galaxy, but whether different species can find ways to help each other become better. Then they could be alone. Kira nodded slowly. I think you may be right, and if that is the test, then both our species have much to learn. 3 days had passed since Kira's challenge, and Dr. Lisa Park was struggling to understand what she had gotten herself into. The alien girl sat across from her in the research lab, surrounded by equipment that looked primitive compared to the small device she carried. It was no bigger than a smartphone, but it seemed to do things that human technology could only dream of. Before we begin any tests, Kira said, her voice still carrying that musical quality, you need to understand what my people can do. Only then will you truly grasp the challenge ahead. Lisa nodded, her notebook ready. As a scientist, she knew the importance of understanding the competition. Show me. Kira held up her hand, and Lisa watched in amazement as the alien's skin began to change color. First it turned a deep green, then shifted to a rocky gray texture that looked exactly like the metal walls of the space station. Within seconds, Kira's hand had become nearly invisible against the background. Adaptive camouflage, Kira explained casually. All of my people can do this. It helps us survive in dangerous environments. Lisa wrote frantically in her notebook. How long did it take your species to evolve this ability? We didn't evolve it, Kira replied with a smile that made Lisa's pen stop moving. We developed it in a single generation when we colonized a planet with aggressive predators. Our bodies simply adapted to the need. That's impossible, Lisa whispered. Evolution doesn't work that fast. For your species, perhaps not, but my people's bodies respond to environmental pressures within months, not millions of years. Kira stood up and walked to the temperature controls. Would you like another demonstration? Before Lisa could answer, Kira adjusted the room temperature. to nearly freezing. Lisa immediately began shivering, her breath visible in the suddenly frigid air. But Kira remained perfectly comfortable, her skin taking on a slightly bluish tint. I've now adapted to survive comfortably in temperatures that would cause hypothermia in humans, Kira explained. This change happened in less than 30 seconds. Lisa's teeth were chattering as she reached for her jacket. That's incredible. But humans have survived in cold environments too. We have clothing, shelter, fire. Yes, external adaptations, Kira agreed, returning the temperature to normal. But what happens when those external aids fail? What happens in an environment where fire cannot burn? Or where materials for clothing don't exist? Lisa felt the weight of the challenge growing heavier. How could humans possibly compete with beings who could literally reshape their biology at will? But then she remembered something from her years of studying survival patterns. Adaptation isn't just about individual survival, Lisa said, gaining confidence. It's about species survival. Tell me, how many children can your people have? For the first time, Kira looked uncomfortable. That depends on environmental conditions. In optimal situations, perhaps one offspring every 50 Earth years. Lisa felt a spark of hope. Humans can have children every year if they choose to. A single human couple could have 10 or more children in their lifetime, quantity over quality. Kira replied dismissively, "My people live for over 1,000 years. Our children are born with advanced abilities and perfect health." But what happens if disaster strikes? Lisa pressed. If a disease wipes out half your population, it would take centuries to recover. Humans bounce back from catastrophes within a few generations. Kira was quiet for a moment, her large blue eyes studying Lisa carefully. An interesting point, but individual weakness cannot be overcome by numbers alone. Lisa stood up, pacing around the lab as her excitement grew. "You're thinking about this all wrong. You see our differences as weaknesses, but they're actually strengths. Yes, humans die younger than your people, but that means we have to make our lives count. We take risks. We innovate. We push boundaries. And you die trying," Kira pointed out. "Some of us do," Lisa admitted, "but others succeed and pass on their knowledge. Every human generation builds on the discoveries of the previous one. We don't just adapt our bodies, we adapt our entire civilization." Kira pulled out her device and began recording Lisa's words. Continue. "Your people can change their skin color, but can they change their thinking? Can they adapt their culture, their beliefs, their entire way of life when circumstances demand it?" Lisa was getting passionate now, her voice rising with conviction. Humans have gone from living in caves to traveling in space in just a few thousand years. We've adapted to every climate on Earth, not by changing our bodies, but by changing our approach. Yet you still cannot survive in the vacuum of space without artificial assistance, Kira countered. "But we built the artificial assistance," Lisa exclaimed. "We looked at our limitations and found ways around them. We couldn't fly, so we invented airplanes. We couldn't breathe underwater, so we created submarines. We couldn't survive in space, so we built space stations like this one." Kira seemed genuinely intrigued now. "Your species treats obstacles as puzzles to solve rather than barriers to accept." "Exactly," Lisa said, feeling like she was finally getting through. "That's what makes us special. We don't just adapt to our environment, we make our environment adapt to us." The alien girl was quiet for several minutes, processing this information. Finally, she spoke. "Your approach is more complex than I initially understood. But complexity can also mean fragility. What happens when your technology fails? What happens when your civilization collapses?" Lisa thought about this carefully. It was a fair question, and she knew the answer would be crucial to proving humanity's worth. "When our civilizations have collapsed in the past, we've always rebuilt them stronger than before," she said. "The fall of the Roman Empire led to the Renaissance. The destruction of World War II led to the space age. Humans don't just survive disasters, we learn from them. But individual humans still die easily." Kira pressed. "A small change in temperature, a lack of food for a few days, exposure to radiation. These things that wouldn't harm my people can kill yours quickly." "True," Lisa admitted, But that fragility makes us value life more. It makes us fight harder to protect each other. It makes us more creative in finding solutions. Your people might be individually stronger, but are they willing to sacrifice themselves for others the way humans are? Kira's expression changed, becoming more thoughtful. Sacrifice is not common among my people. We prioritize individual survival above group needs. Then you're missing something fundamental about what makes a species truly strong. Lisa said gently, individual power means nothing if the group fails. Humans survive because we take care of each other, even when it costs us personally. The room fell silent as both beings contemplated this difference. Lisa could see that Kira was beginning to understand that the challenge was more complicated than either of them had initially thought. Perhaps, Kira said slowly, we need to redefine what we mean by strength and survival. Your species approaches these concepts very differently than mine. Lisa smiled. That's exactly my point. There isn't just one way to be successful in the universe. Maybe the real test isn't about proving which species is better, but about understanding how different approaches to survival can work together. As Kira continued to record their conversation, Lisa realized that the challenge was evolving into something neither of them had expected. Instead of a competition, it was becoming a collaboration, a chance for two very different species to learn from each other's strengths. Dr. Lisa Park had seen many strange things in her 20 years as a space scientist, but nothing prepared her for this moment. She stood in the white, sterile room of the International Space Station, staring at something that shouldn't exist. Across from her sat a being that looked almost human, but not quite. The alien girl had smooth, silver-tinted skin that seemed to glow softly under the artificial lights. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, a deep blue color that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. She moved with a grace that made everything she did look like a dance. Her hair was white as snow and fell in perfect waves around her shoulders. You can call me Kira, the alien said, her voice carrying a musical quality that made Lisa's heart skip a beat. I have been waiting to meet your kind for a very long time. Lisa tried to keep her professional composure, but inside she was screaming with excitement. This was the moment every scientist dreamed of. First contact with an alien species. Real, actual proof that we are not alone in the universe. Welcome to our space station, Lisa managed to say, her voice slightly shaky. We're honored to meet you. Where do you come from? Kira smiled, and Lisa noticed that even her smile was different, more perfect somehow. I come from a place you call Kepler 440b. My people have been watching your species for many of your generations. We know much about humans, the way she said. Humans made Lisa feel like they were being studied under a microscope. There was something in Kira's tone that suggested she didn't think very highly of them. Watching us? Lisa asked, sitting down across from Kira. The alien's presence was both fascinating and intimidating. For how long? About 300 years in your time measurement, Kira replied casually, as if talking about the weather. My people are explorers. We study different species across the galaxy. We learn about their abilities, their potential, their limitations. That last word hung in the air like a challenge. Lisa felt her scientist instincts kick in. She had spent her entire career studying life forms, adaptation, and survival. The way Kira spoke suggested that humans had failed some kind of test. Limitations, Lisa repeated, leaning forward. What kind of limitations are you talking about? Kira's large blue eyes seemed to sparkle with amusement. Your species is interesting, Dr. Park. You have managed to survive on your planet for a relatively short time, but my people have concerns about your long-term survival capabilities. Lisa felt a mix of curiosity and irritation. Who is this alien to judge humanity? What concerns? Your reproductive capabilities, Kira said matter-of-factly. Your species has significant biological restrictions that limit your ability to thrive in different environments. My people believe this makes humans unsuitable for galactic expansion. The words hit Lisa like a punch to the stomach. This beautiful, otherworldly being was essentially calling humans weak. As a scientist who had dedicated her life to understanding life and survival, Lisa felt personally challenged. That's quite an assumption, Lisa said, trying to keep her voice steady. Humans have survived ice ages, natural disasters, and have spread to every corner of our planet. We've even made it to space. Kira nodded politely. Yes, impressive for a young species. But you rely heavily on technology to overcome your biological weaknesses. My people can adapt naturally to any environment within a single generation. We can survive in conditions that would destroy human life instantly. Lisa watched as Kira stood up and walked to the window overlooking Earth. The alien moved with that same flowing grace, and Lisa noticed that she seemed completely comfortable in the low-gravity environment of the space station. Most humans needed time to adjust. Your planet is beautiful, Kira continued, gazing down at the blue and green sphere below. But it's the only world your kind can naturally survive on. My people have colonies on 17 different planets, each with completely different conditions. We adapt our biology to match whatever environment we encounter. Lisa stood up and joined Kira at the window. Adaptation isn't just about biology. She said firmly, humans adapt through intelligence, cooperation, and innovation. We change our environment to suit us, rather than changing ourselves. An interesting approach, Kira admitted, but ultimately limited. What happens when you encounter an environment that cannot be changed? What happens when your technology fails? Lisa felt her competitive spirit rising. Throughout her career, she had always enjoyed a good scientific debate. This alien might be advanced, but she was clearly underestimating human ingenuity. You seem very confident about your species' superiority, Lisa said. But you're basing your judgment on limited observation. Have you actually tested human capabilities? Kira turned to face Lisa, and for the first time, Lisa saw genuine interest in those large blue eyes. What are you suggesting, Dr. Park? Lisa took a deep breath. She was about to make a decision that could change everything. I'm suggesting that if you really want to understand human potential, you should test it properly. Give us a chance to prove what our species is truly capable of. A slow smile spread across Kira's perfect features. You're challenging me? I'm challenging your assumptions, Lisa replied. You say humans have breeding and survival limitations. I say you haven't seen what we can really do when we're pushed to our limits. Kira was quiet for a long moment, studying Lisa's face. The silence stretched between them, filled with unspoken possibilities. Finally, the alien spoke. Very well, Dr. Park, I accept your challenge. Prove to me that your species deserves a place among the galactic community. Show me that human reproductive and survival capabilities are not as limited as my people believe. Lisa felt her heart racing. She had just committed herself and possibly all of humanity to some kind of test. But she also felt excitement coursing through her veins. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. What exactly would this proof entail? Lisa asked. You will demonstrate human adaptability, survival instincts, and reproductive resilience under conditions that challenge your biological limitations. Kira explained, I will observe and document everything. If you succeed, I will recommend to my people that humans are worthy of contact and cooperation. And if we fail, Kira's expression became serious. Then my people will continue to observe from a distance, and humanity will remain isolated in this solar system. Lisa looked out at Earth again, thinking about everyone down there who had no idea their future might depend on what happened in this room. The responsibility felt overwhelming, but also thrilling. When do we start? Lisa asked. We start now, Kira replied. The first test is already beginning. You see, Dr. Park, the moment you accepted my challenge, you proved something important about your species. What's that? Humans are willing to take risks for the greater good. That quality alone sets you apart from many species we have encountered. Most beings choose safety over possibility. Lisa felt a small surge of pride. But she knew this was just the beginning. Whatever tests lay ahead would determine not just her own fate, but the future of human civilization. As she looked at Kira's alien beauty and strange grace, Lisa couldn't help but wonder what she had gotten herself into. But one thing was certain. She was about to embark on the most important Mission of her life.